Alright, Blizzard, relax. I cannot keep up with all this news. I know I'm new on the YouTube block, but all my viewers are counting on... Oh, well, yeah, whatever. I'm working on it, okay? The news doesn't stop even for YouTube noobs. I gotta do something before my PC just explodes, I swear.
Hey boss, did you order more Mythic Plus changes?
Gamma, no! How's it guys, I'm Nazibro, and I won't lie, this weekly news thing is just getting tough, because Blizz just keeps it going. We've got a lot to talk about, so let's just dig right in. Now the nature of these news videos of mine going up on Sunday means that me telling you that pre-patch is soon actually means pre-patch is in 2 days. I've gone over pre-patch a few times now in past videos, and my last news video gives a speedy rundown of all the new stuff to keep an eye out for. If you want to download all that knowledge into your brain, click the little link thing up there and go on over. Don't worry, I'll wait. Joke's on you, I can't wait because there is a whole lot of news and pre-patch is in 2 days. Or already out depending on when you watch this. Blizz also put out a what to do before pre-patch type post earlier this week, so if you still have stuff to do in these 2 days, go on over there and check out a nice short list. And with that, Dragonflight is basically over. I think I might do a Dragonflight review video at some point, taking a real nice look back at the whole thing and my experience with it, from the perspective of a mid-core to casual player. That'll be fun if I can find the time for it. Anyways, look out for that and let me know in the comments if you're interested. Anyways, Blizz didn't stop at letting us know what to do before pre-patch drops, but also rolled out their entire schedule for pretty much everything important for the actual release. So let's take a look at this new roadmap of theirs. Most of this is known already, but let's see what they got. So here's your timeline. In 2 days from the time this video is uploaded, we get pre-patch on July 23rd, the date that everybody predicted. After we've had a week to settle in, we get the Radiant Echoes pre-patch event on the 30th of July, and that runs all the way until the official launch on the 26th of August. But of course, before the official launch, we get the actual launch, when early access goes live on the 22nd. Then, on September 10th, we get the beginning of Season 1, with the raid going live a week later on the 17th. All good stuff, and we might even have more news before the launch of Season 1, since Blizz has got some tight timelines all the way until the Last Titan. So I'm expecting some even more news pretty early into the War Within. Guess we'll see soon. Now let's take a look at some beta shenanigans, starting with the new world map. The meme of Kalimdor getting further away continues since the East is just so busy with landmasses now, and it makes Kalimdor look even further away than before, especially with Khazalgar now wedging it even further. Maybe by the time we start heading west, Blizz will have to start thinking about a zoomable and pannable map like every other MMO has these days, or just keep separating it to subsections, I guess. Next up, let's talk spiders. Minor character spoilers coming up, since we've got some News-Rubian news. Let's start with the most flavorful thing first, which is some new titles that are made available by hitting max reputation with some allied News-Rubians. I assume it's kind of like the Rathian and Sibelian situation where you can gather rep for all of them over time. Anyway, being BFFs with the Weaver will award you with the title Silk Singer. Silk Song confirmed? Let's go, boys. Hitting max with the Vizier will get you a Hand of the Vizier, which is admittedly not as exciting as some of the others. The third one, though, for being the General's best guy, gets you the title Anub, which might sound weird, but think about it. All those classic Nerubian enemies we've faced off against like Anubarak, we can now also have that same naming convention. For example, my Drakthir's name is Akior, so he can be Anub Akior, which sounds pretty sweet, I don't know about you. There is a fourth title too, for opening 250 bountiful coffers with coffer keys, which awards the Bountiful. Nice titles. I actually do really like titles as a customization option you can unlock, so good stuff. Some more Nerubian stuff, we have some updates on the stacking raid buff for Nerebar Palace. If you didn't know, about a month ago there was a raid buff data mined called Rebel Yell, which seemed to be a buff that would increase over time and make raid easier with subsequent completions. Well, it seems to be called Severed Strands now, with each stack granting a 3% damage and healing buff. This stack can, at the time of this video, go all the way up to 15, which means you can get to an insane 45% buff to healing and damage. So how do you get these stacks? Is it automatic, like the Ice Crown Citadel Ashen Verdict buff? Not quite. It seems to be tied to an item turn-in. You gather some Nerubian finery from the bosses and turn them in for the buff. Doesn't seem clear how many are needed for the full 15 stack, but we'll see soon enough. We also have the splash screen for the launch and for the release of Season 1, which look nice, but pretty much tell us what we already know from the roadmap. Still looks good. Alright, time for some nitty gritty. While the beta dev notes contain much of what we've come to expect, there is some other fascinating stuff to go over. Namely, we've got some tank reworks to go along with Blizz's ongoing efforts to make healing feel more like you're not playing heals whack-a-mole. Let's take a look. Basically, Blizz has noticed that these days, good tanks don't even need healers anymore, with how insane their self-healing and sustain is. Blizz is hoping to turn this down a bit by making some targeted tweaks to tanks in general. The long and short of it is that Blizz is turning down their damage resistance and self-healing a bit, but also making it so they don't have to tank huge hits as often, and just like healing, making it more of a sustain game. Blizz have highlighted their intent with a couple major points, so let's take a look at each one. Tanks will take more damage overall, but shouldn't die significantly more often. Basically, they'll take more damage from regular attacks like autos and stuff, to make them rely on healers a bit more. However, this should not affect burst damage sources as much, which does lead into the next point. Tank damage intake should be steady and not too fast. They want to smooth out damage to make it less spiky, which means they'll be needing healing more often, but it won't be on the brink of death. Tanks will still have strong answers to threats or periods of danger, but less sustained self-healing. Self-explanatory, while they will have some self-healing to give themselves a little bit of wiggle room, they still will need to rely on healers. Healer gameplay should not be dominated by tank healing. With all these changes, they're still trying to make it that you don't have to focus on healing the tanks all the time. Healing the whole crowd is more important. Tank gameplay should not significantly change or require actions like kiting to survive. Basically, you shouldn't have to do some shenanigans like kiting to survive, and core tank gameplay should be the way to play. It seems to line up a decent amount with what their plans have been for healing, making it less reaction-based and more active gameplay all the time. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. Links to the dev notes and the tank tuning post in the description too. One last notable beta thing, we have even more Mythic Plus changes. Yes, even more. Although nothing too significant like a whole new affix or so— oh, wait a minute. Seems like Blizz is cooking another Xal'atath's Bargain affix? But this one isn't finished or might just be the vestiges of an unused one, called Xal'atath's Bargain Oblivion. There are some changes to existing affixes though. Number 1, we've got a fortified nerf. Damage done by trash mobs will go down from 30% increase to a 20% increase, to line itself up a bit more with the new tank changes. The Xal'atath's Bargain Voidbound, however, got a bit more potent. Basically, every stack juices nearby enemies by 10% instead of 5, meaning it's a bit more important to get a handle on the emissary when it is summoned. Okay, I may have exaggerated the magnitude of the changes for comedic effect, but because that's all we got this week in terms of affix changes. Now let's turn our attention to the live game, where there is a BOOLIN shortage. Many people noticed this week that they did not get a BOOLIN drop, which led many to believe that maybe there is a hard cap of 12 or something. Blizz later confirmed though that this is not the case, and we'll have it fixed by next week. The BOOLIN that would have dropped this week will now drop next week, along with the correct BOOLIN for next week. They should also keep dropping all the way until War Within release, so even more opportunities to get Mogs to finish off your Dragonflight collection. One last bit of news I want to touch on is the release of Chronicle Volume 4, which happened on the 17th. Now, a big elephant in the room, Blizz did unfortunately paint a bit of a bad picture with Chronicle later on from the first two, by saying it was all from a biased Titan perspective, which in my opinion seemed more like a spur-of-the-moment mistake made by a denuser. I think he was the one who made that quote, right? Pretty much everything in Chronicle, in terms of the actual physical events of things actually happening, actually did happen. So it can still be used as a timeline of the actual events, regardless of motivations or anything like that. And the whole Titan perspective stuff doesn't even come into play that much, to be honest. Basically, what I'm trying to say is we don't need to dismiss Chronicle outright, and it can still be used as a true order of events chronology at the very least. Which means I'm excited to read the thing, to see the events of the expansions it covers listed as official written down history. And that's about everything I wanted to cover today. I'm ready to dive in a bit more and play some pre-patch and get those event rewards. I'm looking forward to it. This video might be a bit shorter than my other news videos. Basically, I'm trying to get it out a bit quickly because I'm just insanely busy right now. Trying to balance YouTube right now is a bit tough, but I really do want this channel to take off, so I'm trying my best to keep a consistent schedule. Hopefully, if you guys like how I do things, you'll stick around and we can actually grow the channel. As for you guys though, thanks so much for watching. If you made it to the end, you're a legend. Please consider dropping a like if you enjoy how I do things here, and subscribing would mean the world to me. Let's see if we can get this channel rolling for the World Soul Saga. Until next time though, stay safe bros.